The night of the drones. The land gives, and the land takes. That was always the way of it. On the farm, storms would flatten crops one season, and the flood would nourish them the next. The balance was cruel, but it was ours. But the drones, they were never part of that balance. They were something else. That night, I learned what it meant to live in their shadow. It was a quiet night at first. The air was cool and heavy with the scent of cut grass. The kids were asleep upstairs, curled under blankets patched with scraps. My wife mending a shirt by lamplight, her fingers quick and steady. I sat by the window, just watching the stars. They looked brighter out here and sharper. In the city, the glow of the towers doled them out. But out here, the sky was a bowl of black glass, scattered with fire. For the first time since returning, I let myself breathe easy. And that's when I heard it. At first, it was a faint, low vibration, like a storm gathering beyond the horizon. But storms roll and shift. This sound was steady and constant, a mechanical hum, deep enough to shake the glass. I froze. Every muscle in my body was tight. My wife looked up from her sewing. Her eyes were narrowing. As the hum grew louder, I knew it wasn't thunder or wind, but it was something else. It was something that was searching. I killed the lamp, and the house sank into darkness. We moved quietly and quickly, walking the children with gentle shakes. My daughter rubbed her eyes, confused. My son understood at once. His little hands were clenched into fists. "Drones," he whispered. I nodded. We huddled in the parlor, the only room with shutters intact, and I pulled them tight, every crack sealed with cloth. And then the light came. It was a thin, sharp beam, white as bone, that swept across the yard. It moved like a finger, probing and tracing lines across the grass, the porch, and the broken barn. The hum deepened, rattling the walls. Another beam joined in, then another, and the house glowed faintly under their searching. My daughter buried her face in my chest, trembling. My wife held my son's hand so tightly, her knuckles went white. We didn't speak, and we didn't breathe. The beams crawled across the siding, pausing at the windows, and lingering like eyes. I felt the sweat roll down my back, slow and cold. In that moment, the farmhouse wasn't a shelter, it was a cage. And the drones were the hunters, circling around outside. The beams of light coming from the drones moved methodically. First the barn, their light sweeping over the collapsed rafters and rusted tools. Then the shed, its roof half caved and its doors broken. Then the chicken coop, with its long, empty weeds tangled through the wires. Finally, they turned towards the house, and the hum grew louder and deeper until I could feel it vibrating through my bones. A beam of light hit the porch and held there, and then it moved up the door frame and across the shutters along the roofline. It paused. At that moment, the children shook, and my wife's breath was caught in her throat. I clenched my fists until my nails cut through the skin, and then the beam drifted away. For a moment, I thought they were leaving, but then one of the drones lowered. Its shadow moved across the yard, closer, closer, until it hovered just above the porch. The shutters rattled, and the boards groaned. It was so close I could hear the whine of its rotors and the electric buzz of its sensors scanning. I wanted to run, to scream, to do anything but sit in silence. But silence was all that has kept us alive so far. The floor bed creaked upstairs, and my heart stopped. It was the kids' room. The old house shifted under their weight as my daughter rolled in her sleep. The sound sharp in the stillness. The beam snapped upwards, straight to the second floor. The walls glowed white, and the hum grew so loud I thought the glass would shatter. I held my breath until my chest burned. Seconds stretched into eternity. Then slowly, painfully, the beam slid away. The drone rose, lifting above the house, and the hum began to fade. We didn't move for a long time. Not for minutes, not even for hours. Even after the lights vanished over the fields, and even after the hum was gone, we stayed there huddling in the dark. The children slept against us, exhausted by fear. My wife's hand trembled in mine. And finally, as dawn broke, I dared to rise. The field stretched silent and empty, golden with morning light, and the drones were gone, but the memory of them wasn't. That day we didn't work the garden, and we didn't fetch water. We didn't mend or clean or fix. We just existed, although hollow and shaken. My wife moved like a shadow. Her face was pale, and my son just sat on the porch steps, staring at the sky, as if daring it to bring the machines back. And my daughter clung to me all day, her small body heavy with fear. And me, I couldn't stop listening. Every rustle of wind, every creak of the boards, every buzz of an insect sounded like the drones returning. I knew then that they weren't just machines. They were a message and a reminder that we didn't belong here. That night, lying awake with my thoughts, I thought of the farm we had once worked, how we had bent under the sun, cutting weeds, pulling stones, sweating until our bodies ached, how we had gone to bed with dirt under our nails and pride in our hearts. The land had been harsh then, too, but it had been honest. The drones weren't honest. They didn't take because they needed. They took because they could. And that made them worse than any storm. The night of the drones was a test, not of strength or skill, but of silence. We survived because we stayed still, because we made ourselves invisible, because we clung to one another in the dark and refused to break. But I knew that it wouldn't be the last time. The machines would come again, and they would keep coming. They will keep searching and watching and waiting for us to slip. And when they did, we would have to choose: hide forever or fight.